Previously on Dirt Nights.
Hey, you guys throwing them away? It's a hide and head.
Corey Drips getting there first. Oh, third one.
I'm kissing Texas flag.
Here we go, Marshalltown, Iowa, it is showtime! Here comes the Reaper on the outside. Absolutely awesome side-by-side action. Again, we are halfway through this one, so if we do happen to get rained out, this would be considered a full show for the modifieds.
I don't want to get a win this way. Being it would be my first one of the year, hell yes, I'll take a feature win on a short race. Rain, baby, rain.
It's rare to hear a race car driver begging for rain. But when you're in the lead and looking for your first win in a frustrating season, you'll take all the help you can get.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to wave the checkered flag. This one is done.
We got a win for the year. Hell yeah. Woo!
The 14 team pulls out the old hot rod and drives it right into victory lane the first night out.
I love Marshalltown, Iowa. Hell yeah.
But John Tesh isn't going to get a chance to capitalize on the momentum. The good old-fashioned gully washer that shortened the night in Marshalltown has turned into a 3-day soak. Races in Oskaloosa and Allison, Iowa have been canceled, putting Chateau Raceway in Lansing, Minnesota next on the schedule.
I'm gonna start putting all the rod ends on everything.
But the break isn't all bad, especially for Mike Spalding. The 17S is in pieces, the result of a spectacular and heart-stopping crash in Marshalltown.
Mike Spalding going for a vicious rollover down here in turn number one.
Set it down the chair.
Getting the Spalding car back on the track will take more than what the boys can handle in the drip shop.
Oh, it's heavy.
So they call on metal bending expert Dwayne Peterson to try and straighten the 17S out.
It looks to me like the front just like this. The whole motor was turned to the left. I just don't want to push it with that jack. Well, I'm not sure about looking good, but it's done.
The racetrack will give it for black note.
Grip says it's ready to go.
The Spalding car won't be the same, but it is raceable, and that's all that matters to Mike. Just across the Iowa border in the wooded rolling hills of southeastern Minnesota is the tiny town of Lansing, where for more than 50 years they've been throwing dirt at Chateau Raceway.
Yeah, well, we've had a couple rain-out days, just kind of waiting around for the next race. But looks like we're going to get it in. Hopefully I can have a night of work without sweating.
How in the is this piece of dead?
But just because you've had a couple extra days in the shop doesn't mean you won't have any problems, especially if your name is Corey Drips, who's had worse mechanical luck this season than just about anybody.
Tell me when. Yeah, I heard a kind spark that time.
No spark. Farmer's got spark. Motor. Right.
Finally, the guys isolate the problem as the ignition box, or MSD box, which sends sparks to the distributor. A bad connection was sending an intermittent signal, a serious problem at 8,000 RPM. 31 is back in business, just in time for hot laps. The 19R is already on the track trying to work out the kinks after losing the Hunt points lead to Jason Hughes following a wicked run-in with Rodney Sanders in Moberly, Missouri. With just 8 races left on the schedule, Gustin trails Hughes by 46 points. Not an insurmountable lead, but the Reaper can't afford many more off nights. And Chateau Raceway never makes things easy. The guys were here over Memorial Weekend, and this is what the 31 car looked like after that night.
It's a tough place. It's qualifying, like we preach all the time, is really big, and this is a tough place to pass in qualifying, so your draw is going to be a big part of this.
It's short and it's narrow, so in a short heat race, getting around cars is extremely difficult. The luck of the draw for starting position is more important here than most places, but the luck is bad for the Reaper. He starts heat 1 dead last, while the guy he's chasing for a national title starts on the front row.
Jason Hughes in row number 1. Here we go, Chateau Raceway. It's time to light up the modifieds. Here we come out of corner number 4. We're gone. Jason Hughes getting the early jump off the outside of row number 1. He will take the lead down the back straightaway, followed by Ron Verbeek and Bobby Swanson. Colt Mather going to take a look to the outside of Doug Hilson as they go into turn number 3. Hughes going to lead lap number 1 as they come down the front stretch. Mather again going to take a look to the outside of Hilson as they go down the back straightaway. Gustin and Cummins battling for the last position as they go down to turn number 3. Hughes, your leader, Verbeek, Swanson, second, third, Hilson, Ryan Gustin, the 19R, working the low group, trying to get by the 20th Sanders as they go on to corner number 2. They're side by side down the backstretch into turn number 3, right on the 8 of Colt Mather. White flag being displayed. We've got 1 lap to go this time by. Jason Hughes all by himself down the backstretch into turn number 3.
Hughes puts it on cruise control and rolls into the redraw, while the Reaper works past 4 cars. But 5th will mean a B main and a middle of the pack at best starting spot in the feature. The best dirt modified drivers in the country are in Little Lansing, Minnesota tonight, duking it out on the short and skinny 1/3 mile Chateau Raceway. Mike Spaulding is on the track in Heat 3. His first test of the 17S since his fantastic aerial display in Marshalltown, Iowa. The straightened out car seems to be handling well, but like Gustin, Spaulding started this heat in the back, so passing 1 car won't be enough for a free pass to the feature.
Had no side, no forward.
The one important piece to the 17S that wasn't damaged in the Marshalltown crash was his big open motor. But the custom Mullins power cell may be a drawback on this short track in Lansing. Still, the engineering that goes into building a 720 horsepower screamer is beyond the grasp of most casual race fans.
My passion with racing as an engine builder, it's something we build from ground up here. We build 150 to 200 race engines a year. I can't do that by myself. I've got some very knowledgeable guys, and I can't say enough about them. We are known for our 23-degree engines. We have made power that guys are struggling to do with 15-degree motors. I like the 23-degree combinations. It's always been my theory in the dirt modified racing that gives more drivability. Each year we step up 10, 20 horsepower. With adding the CNC machine and doing our own cylinder heads in-house and our manifolds and everything, we're making numbers that's unheard of. 750 horsepower of a 23-degree motor is, in circle track trim, that's just unheard of. Just because one engine package works for one driver doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for another. It might be cubic inch, it might be camshaft, it might be a cylinder head. Forget about what everybody else is doing. We listen to that one particular driver, make changes to the engine for his driving style. So basically, when you're working with someone, you really need to work with the racer. You got to build your engine and build it to his specs or how he likes the engine to drive. I can't say enough about having good drivers giving us good quality feedback.
Incredible engineering with one purpose in mind, pushing 2,300 pounds of metal around a patch of dirt faster than anybody else. There's a lot of that going on at Chateau Raceway tonight. Heat 5 is on the track, and it's stacked with knights. Al Haina starts on the front row. Corey Drips is in the middle of the pack, and John Tesh is in the back.
Getting ready to fire them up on a quarter number 4, final heat race of the modifieds. Green flag, here we go. We got action right off the bat. Jacob Dale, Corey Drips, Steve Wetstein all getting tangled up here on the front straightaway.
It's becoming a very common story for Corey Drips this season. He does nothing wrong but gets wrecked by another out-of-control driver. Tonight's heat race lasted all of about 10 seconds.
Unbelievable. It took the brake line and, well, obviously body work there, but broke the shock. I couldn't tell if it broke a upper ball joint or not.
Back on the track, John Tesh is still lightning fast in the new car and is locked in a classic battle with fellow Dirt Knights Al Haina.
Tesh again trying to get a run on the inside of Haina as they go down the back straightaway. Side-by-side duel for second as they go into turn number 3. White flag coming out for Josh Hanks. Keep an eye on that battle for second. Tesh has it at the line as they go down into turn number 1. Haina back to the outside as they go down the back straightaway. Side-by-side, Tesh with the advantage into turn number 3. Checkered flag comes out. It will be the 99 of Josh Hanks. Keep an eye on that battle for second.
A fantastic heat race between two great drivers puts John Tesh into the feature, but Al Haina will have to run another B.
Couldn't wait one more lap and hold him off. One more lap. Hate my job that much harder. Bought myself 15 more laps and a B feature. Who was fourth? What sign? Yeah. Was he right there?
No.
How far?
How far? I was watching you and Tesh.
You gotta know. I can watch a race and I can know how far everybody is.
Well, I can't.
That's exactly what we needed to do, and we should be in the A now, so sounds like we got a little pin damage back there, but part of racing, I guess.
John is the only Dirt Knight with a ticket to the money race. The rest will have to take the long road through the B main.
We took the shock off.
But for Corey Drips, even that may be tough to pull off. Chateau Raceway in Lansing, Minnesota is giving the Dirt Knights drivers all they can handle tonight. John Tesh is in the feature. Everybody else is running a B, with Mike Spaulding wrestling with a leaky radiator. And Corey Drips, once again, trying to piece back together the 31 after a very short heat run.
Never mind.
While the Drips team races to get the car ready, on the track, Mike Spaulding, Al Haina, and Derek Ramirez are locked in a B-main battle. The A-train is rolling with a big lead. Ramirez is riding comfortably in fourth, but Mike Spaulding, in eighth, needs to move up one more spot to make the show.
Jacob Dale in the 0-2 now challenging the 17 SS Spaulding for that final transfer spot. White flag coming out for Al Haina. We've got one lap to go. Checkered flag getting ready to come out. Now the caution going to come out, but it'll be a yellow checkered finish. Al Hina, your winner.
Well, that's a lot more like it.
Wetstein was running in the middle of the track early after he got into second, and you were getting away from him.
I was getting away from him?
And then he went to the bottom, to the very bottom, and he was actually starting to catch back up a little bit. All right. But not a lot. Yeah. That's all right.
A fantastic run for Hana, but not as good for Mike Spalding, who missed the feature by 1 place and is done for the night.
Couldn't do it, man. Still don't feel like any side or forward. It's just skating. Sorry, guys. I just couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
In the Drips camp, the mad scramble to get the car rolling again is out of time. The 31 is back on the track, but Drips will have to pass 7 cars in just 15 laps to get into the feature.
Green flag and we're underway. Nate Caruth, Johnny Scott side by side. Johnny Scott bolting around the outside into turn number 3. He's going to take the lead as they complete lap 1. Ryan Gustin in the 19R up to the 3rd spot. Then it's Doug Hilson, Todd Sharkey, Greg Jensen, and Jason Crone right now in the top 5. Top 7 as they go into turn number 3. Johnny Scott leads this one. Ryan Gustin in the 19 now goes to the 2nd spot as he slips by the 7C and Nate Caruth. Johnny Scott, your leader, but here comes the Reaper. Greg Jensen still hanging on to that 7th and final transfer spot. Here comes Rodney Sanders, and don't look now, the 31 at Corey Drips. Drips closing in on the 20th. Sanders looks to the outside. Johnny Scott still your leader with Gustin giving chase. Keep an eye on this battle from 5th on back. Crone to the inside of Sharkey. Drips now to the inside of Sanders, trying to go to the 8th spot. Back up front now, Ryan Gustin in the 19R, closing in on the 1st of Scott. Johnny Scott coming home the winner. Battle for that 7th and final transfer. So unofficially, it will be the 31 at Corey Drips finishing in that 7th spot.
An easy run for the Reaper, but the most impressive car on the track was the 31 of Corey Drips, who moved up exactly 7 spots to earn a ticket to the money race.
We got a pretty damn fast race car. He just drove from 15th to 7th in a B main and snuck in the last transfer spot. We got a good car. We're just going to stay out of trouble in A.
In the race for a national title, the Reaper has a chance to make up some ground tonight. He'll start 16th, so he's got a lot of potential passing points in front of him. One of them is Hunt leader Jason Hughes, who will start 7th.
We're going to light it up. Here we go. Tash and Aggs, Tommy Meyer sticks it in there almost 3 wide as they go 3 wide down the back straightaway in the middle of the pack. Aggs and Tesh side by side up front. Tesh gets up over the cushion. Josh Aggs leads lap 1. Tommy Meyer quickly to the 2nd spot. The Bixby bullet on the outside of Josh Hanks as they go side by side up front. 99 of Hanks, a 65 of Tommy Meyer as they come out of turn number 4. Tommy Meyer around the outside, going to take the lead.
The U.S. MTS feature is on the track at Chateau Raceway in Lansing, Minnesota, where two longtime rivals, the Bixby Bullet, Tommy Meyer, and the Wizard of Watertown, John Tesh, are locked in a classic dirt duel for the race lead. For 7 laps, the two dirt veterans duel side by side. Finally, on lap 11, Tesh makes his move on the low side. The 14 car is in the clear and on a roll. While back in the pack, the rest of the Knights are on the move as well. The A-Train, Al Haina, is as fast as he's been in weeks tonight. He started 13th, but is into the top 10 and moving up. Behind him, Ryan Gustin is moving through the field as well, and right on his bumper is the 31, who was dead in the water 10 seconds into his heat race. Started dead last in this race, and has passed almost half the field already. Back in front, John Tesh leads the way and is working through lap traffic. And bad news for Ryan Gustin in the Hunt race, as Jason Hughes, who started 7th, is all the way up to 2nd. Just a week ago, John Tesh was winless, struggling, and probably the most frustrated driver on tour. Tonight, he's riding a 2-race win streak and on top of the dirt-modified racing world.
Comes right back here to the Chateau Raceway in Lansing and makes it 2 in a row here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wizard of Watertown, John Tesh!
Second night out with this car, and we got another win. I'm tickled. We got it done. Feel great. Great night.
I was catching Tommy. I don't know about the 110, but the 99 Tommy.
Another veteran that has been struggling miserably all year finally had a bit of a breakthrough tonight as Al Haina gets a B-main win and runs from 13th up to 6th in the feature.
Awesome. That's
Good job, bud.
that's a race car now. That's fun.
And in what is becoming a painfully familiar story, the fastest car on the track was probably the 31 in Corey Drips. Starting dead last and passing half the field is impressive, maybe even a moral victory, but means little else. If the 31 could ever start toward the front, he might be unbeatable.
So cars in one piece. Boys did a great job putting her back together, and we'll get after it tomorrow.
Man, we need to take this thing back to square one or something. It was terrible.
Ryan Gustin earned a few passing points tonight, but Jason Hughes earned just as many and ran 2nd. So his lead in the race for a national points championship grows to 71 over the Reaper. And the once dominant team that won 5 straight features in June is desperately searching for answers.
Ever since the sun started, we haven't been very good. We've got away from what we did all year, and now we're chasing our tails, trying to come up with different to get back to where we were. I think we're digging ourselves a deeper hole.
The book is closed on a wild night in Lansing, Minnesota, with a trophy in the 14 camp, hope in the 7 camp, and frustration everywhere else. But none of that matters because another race day is a short night and a short drive away. The long and winding road that is the United States Modified Touring Series works its way through southeast Minnesota today. The destination is the idyllic small town of Spring Valley, Minnesota. The author, Laura Ingalls Wilder, once called Spring Valley home, and the community still reflects a different, more innocent time. But even though Laura never penned a story about the little racetrack on the prairie, it's here, and it's known as Deer Creek Speedway, one of the premier dirt venues in the country.
The season's definitely turned around for us, that's for sure.
The Wizard of Watertown has gone from the most frustrated driver on tour to the hottest wheelman in the business in about a week. He's won the last 2 features and is hoping to ride the wave tonight.
Feeling pretty good. I know we'll probably have to change the car a little bit tonight. It's a pretty fast racetrack.
In a desperate search for a little good luck, the Corey Drips team has pulled out a new mascot. But before digging into the 31 car, Drips drops in on team owner John Coster, who's in the middle of his own race prep today.
You had a pretty fast hot rod? Yeah?
Like any sport, the key to the future of dirt track racing lies with the kids. In recent years, opportunities for young people to get behind the wheel have exploded across the country. And one of the most popular cars is a mini modified known as a slingshot.
You gonna win tonight?
Try my best. It's just family tradition since we were young. Other people have baseball. We have racing, dirt, sliding. It's just a lot more fun. I've always wanted to be a NASCAR driver. I want to start out like what Gustin's doing right now, going into the A-mods and getting a ride for ARCA, and then working my way up. I'm going to run these a couple more years, and then I'm going to move to a B-mod, and then I'm going to try to move to a Midwest mod, and then an A-mod. I'm going to race until retired.
Great division to start in. It's a full cage car. They got 5-point belts and racing seats, unlike a go-kart where you're sitting in there and something bad happens, you fly out of the cart. If my kids choose to race, this is definitely what I'm going to put them in for the simple fact I feel they're a lot safer. It's an awesome beginner class.
Today everybody knows, you need a future to racetrack, and one of the few facilities that understand that is the Queensland family, here at Deer Creek, and it's a great thing they got going. You got to have youth to have a future, and what the slingshots do, it gives them a car that they know they're the same as everybody else, and the motors are all sealed, and basically handles a lot like the modifieds that they'll move into in the future. It is youth oriented, but we have guys as old as 80 years old also, so we have the kids, and the old guys too.
As the future Dirt Knights tear it up on the track, the big boys are knee-deep in car setups and adjustments.
We've been struggling with drawing well and starting in the back, not getting qualified very well. I hope it's all circumstance, and it ain't that we're that much slower. We're gonna find out.
We were about 25 pounds light on the gas shock on the left rear. That definitely didn't help us. We should be at about 150 pounds. I'll pick that left rear up, plant this right. So we're finding a couple little things that need to be done a little different.
Everybody will have to have their A game tonight because Deer Creek always attracts the best of the best.
Tonight's probably the toughest locals out of anywhere we go. There's going to be, I'm figuring at least 50 cars here tonight, and it's be a tough deal. A lot of guys, half the field won't make the show.
Nearly 60 cars will be on the track tonight. John Tesh will start things off for the Dirt Knights team in Heat 2.
Peeled in turn 4. Green flag is out, and here we go. Side by side as they charge down the front stretch into our first 2 turns. And how about the 14 of John Tesh? Not wasting any time. He's going to lead them off of turn 2 down the backstretch. Albert's in that second spot as they go into 3 and 4. Off of turn 4, it is Tesh at lap number 1. Vanderbeek in that third position in the 33. Albert's running second. John Tesh pulling away again in the second half of heat race number 2. Albert's in that second spot. Reuter running third. Still the battle side by side between the 33 of Zach Vanderbeek as the white flag comes out. 8 of Mather, the 20 of Sanders as well in that mix. Final 2 turns coming up for the 14 of John Tesh. Unopposed as he comes off of turn 4, and it's going to be checkers for Heat 2 for John Tesh.
Another flawless run for Tesh. Between heats and features, the 14 car has not lost a race since its return in Marshalltown.
Maybe I was going to be a little down on power on that deal, so put a little more gear to it and let it eat. And we'll be in the A. We don't have to worry about a B main now. That's good. These first row outside starting spots been good to us this week.
Need more forward.
In the Spalding camp, the 17S returns from another solid heat run, but it wasn't quite good enough to make the money race.
What they'll end up doing is cutting that cushion off. But right now, you can't leave it. But yeah, I still don't feel like I'm coming off.
The track will change as the night goes along. It's the team that makes the right changes with it that will hold the big hardware. When Dirt Nights returns, a marquee matchup on the track as 3 Dirt Nights heat things up in Heat 7. Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota is a dirt-spitting speed factory tonight as the best modifieds in the country do battle. The final heat of the night is on the track, and it's loaded with talents, including Corey Drips, Al Haina, and Ryan Gustin, who has a great opportunity to begin a big points night by starting on the pole.
Gustin and Wetstein. Let's see what happens as we crank them up on a 4. Green is out. Gonna be a no start. As you saw, Gustin got the jump.
A tough call and a bad break for the Reaper.
The 19R of Ryan Gustin going to get penalized 1 row for jumping the start.
A big setback in a short 8-lap heat race.
Farm Boy Barbecue heat number 7 getting ready to fly on a turn 4. Here we go. Steve Wetstein going to fly out to the lead down into turn number 1. Gustin on the inside of Weeder. Here comes Bobby Swanson in the 99S mixing it up. Wetstein with a big push. Here comes Weeder to the inside. Swanson now to 3rd. Gustin to the 4th spot. Al Haina now into the top 5. Gustin now going to take a look to the inside of Wetstein going out of quarter number 2. Swanson and Haina still in the top 5. Corey Drips up to the 7th spot. Tommy Weeder Jr. continuing to set sail. As you can see, the white flag coming out. We've got 1 more lap to go here in heat race number 7. Down the back straightaway, he is all by himself into turn number 3. Checkered flag coming out. It is going to be all Tommy Weeder Jr. here in heat number 7. Steve Wetstein will finish 2nd. Ryan Gustin in the 3rd spot. Bobby Swanson and Al Haina rounding out the top 5.
A quick start likely cost the Reaper a heat win and a spot in the feature. It's a penalty the Gressel team does not agree with.
You're up racing, the leader starts the race. I was the leader, I started the race. He's got a cone down in turn 4. You can't see the cone anyways, the sun's right in your eyes right there. So I went, as far as I was concerned, it was a good start.
I go, the leader starts the race. I go, we've always ran it that way. He said, no, the front row starts the race. I said, fine.
Regardless of what they think of the call, Gustin will have to line up with Mike Spalding and Corey Drips in B main number 2. But as Drips gets in the car to head out for the B, he finds out his luck hasn't changed.
Front brake line broke, he says. Yep, right here. Right on the fitting.
Fill it up.
Filling the master here.
A quick fix by the Drips crew and the 31 heads for the track. But as it turns out, it was a sign of things to come.
We're going to fire them in turn 4. Green flag is out, and here we go. Still charging down the front stretch as they head into turns 1 and 2. Spreading out easily 3 wide as they come off of turn 2 down the back stretch. Hanson and Sharkey side by side. Down to the inside as we get a challenge to the 19. Augusta's going to try it. It is the one, and Hansen going to lead lap number 1, but again they're going 3 wide, down to 2 wide as they come off of turn 2 down the backstretch. Gustin on the inside, Hansen on the outside. They're going to battle for that lead spot. Breakdown on the 31. Corey drips as he slowed down in 3. Hugging that low groove as he comes down to the front stretch. Breakdown on the 31 of Corey drips. His night done as your leaders coming into 3 and 4.
Went to get ready to go out there for the B main, first lap. Broke the fuel pump belt, so we're done.
He's always been known as Mr. Excitement, but this season, he's Mr. Hard Luck. The 31 is done for the night.
Up front, the 20 of Sanders, the 19 of Gustin, they're by themselves.
Back on the track, Ryan Gustin is comfortably running in second, while Mike Spaulding is in a side-by-side battle for the last ticket to the feature.
Tim with the advantage, but here comes Sharkey back at him, side by side. White flag is out, 1 lap to go. Spaulding sitting back in that 5th position, but it's only the top 4 going to transfer. Leader going into turn 3 by himself. The 20 of Rodney Sanders out of Happy, Texas. Across the stripe first. Gustin in the 19. The 49 of Tim. And the 17 Essa Spaulding snuck it into that 4th and final transfer spot.
We were falling back, it wasn't looking good, but right at the end on the straightaway, he just hit her and passed the 4th place car by like this much. So it was a pretty decent run. We got back up there and we made it into the A.
The last dirt night with a shot at the feature is Al Haina. After a glimmer of hope with a B-main win and a 6th place finish last night in Lansing, the 7 is struggling again tonight. It's been a nightmare year for the 7 team, and it's led to a lot of tension between Haina and longtime crew chief Lyle Gustafson.
Damn it.
Don't look at me while I'm thinking.
How far?
How far? I was watching you and Ted.
Tonight, Al asked Gus to make a gear change before this B-main, but in the scramble to get the car ready, Gus simply forgot. Now the 7 car is desperately trying to hang on to the last transfer spot of the night.
Haina gets a little bit high in turn number 2. Steensma to the inside. Now challenging for that 4th and final transfer spot. Steensma to the inside of Haina as they come down the front straightaway side by side into turn number 1.
Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, where Al Haina is in a battle for a spot in the feature.
Between Steensma and the 10 and the 7 of Haina. Steensma with a strong move as Haina jumps the cushion. Now Mike Steensma into the 4th spot. Johnny Scott going to make one last stab on your leader, but it's going to be Colt Mather coming to the checkered first. Johnny Scott in second. Lucas Schott finishing 3rd. Mike Steensma in the 4th spot. Al Haina in the top 5.
Haina misses the feature by 1 position.
It's not good enough.
Back at the hauler, things finally come to a head with his crew chief.
Do you change gears?
Yeah. Right, we need to talk. No, seriously, Al.
What?
I want to talk to you. This is going to be my last year racing.
Okay.
Because I'm getting old and I forget.
Okay.
And I. Well, I just told him I was quitting. I forget stuff and. I don't think gear would have made a difference. But.
So things are going to change for the Haina team. But for now, both Al and Corey are on the sidelines. In the redraw for feature starting positions, John Tesh gets the worst number available and will start 8th. But even that's not enough to dampen the confidence of a guy on a 2-race win streak.
I'd call it a decent night if we can finish in the top 5 tonight. So that's kind of what we're going to shoot for.
We've only got 3 Dirt Night drivers in the lineup tonight, but 2 of them will start near the front, with Derek Ramirez on the outside of row 2 and Tash outside row 4. The Reaper, Ryan Gustin, will have plenty of opportunity for passing points starting way back in 19th.
Caution lights are out. Deer Creek Speedway. It is showtime at the Creek. Here we go. Green flag as the field bumps down into turn number 1. Nate Wattsman going to take the lead off of row number 1. Tony Weeder Jr. Jay Erke getting in trouble. He and Jason Crone connect. And Erke into the concrete in corner number 2. Caution comes out right away. John Tesh in the 14 to the infield.
It might have been the only way to slow down the 14 car right now. Tesh gets caught up behind an out-of-control 98 car and almost innocently clips the left front of the 26. But it's enough to knock him out of the race less than half a lap after it starts.
You can see that bolt right down there in the center. It's supposed to be parallel with the rear end tube, but it is not. It's more like diagonal, so there's a bunch of crap twisted in there. That shock mount got all moved back, and that's what our issue is. But we'll get her fixed, I think.
Pittman in that 4th spot for Beek, hanging on to the 5th position, but Gustin and Hughes knocking on the door.
Back on the track, the Reaper is making a big-time move. He started 19th, but is all the way up into a battle for 6th with Hunt Points leader Jason Hughes.
Things starting to heat up for that 5th spot now. Gustin and Hughes side by side for 6th, as Verbeek now trying to close in on the 26P of Pittman.
As the battle rages on the track, in the stands a very interested onlooker has his eye on the 19R and Ryan Gustin. Nate Teesey is the co-owner of Wintron Racing, an asphalt team that competes on the ARCA Series and builds trucks for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
There is nobody that drives in harder than he does, and he stays right on the bottom coming out.
But the struggle to get past 13 cars took its toll on the 19R, and he begins to fade late in the race, while Hughes stays fast on top of the track.
Final turns coming up. Sorensen down on the inside. Hughes on the outside. Off turn number 4. Checkers for Mike Sorensen.
Overall, it was a rough night for the Dirt Knights. Al Haina missed the feature and lost his crew chief. Corey Drips broke down in the feed. John Tesh was knocked out less than a lap into the feature. Derek Ramirez also broke down. Mike Spalding made the money race, but finished back in the pack. Only the Reaper cracked the top 10. Not his best run tonight, but nearly 40 U.S. MTS wins in less than 3 years may just have opened a big door.
Nate and I were talking about doing some other stuff with a couple other guys, and your name came up, so I brought him down here tonight to talk to you a little bit about maybe doing some testing.
Maybe doing some pavement stuff if you're interested in it. Yeah. So I don't know what your schedule is, but we'll have to get together here and see what we can come up with. Look pretty smooth. I think you'll convert real well. So worked with a lot of guys that came off the dirt, and you kind of fit the profile there. So.
With the Gressel team in the thick of a national points race, the asphalt test will wait until after the U.S. MTS season. But the hottest driver on dirt the last 2 years will get a chance to test his skills at the next level. And after that, who knows?
Great deal, you know, somebody's actually going to give me an opportunity like that without having to have $100,000 behind you or something like that. It's great. You know, it really makes you feel good knowing there's still people like that out there.
He's got good talent. He's got good control of himself. He can gets with the right people and some good coaches and everything. The sky's the limit for him. So.
But even an offer like this one will have to move to the back burner for now. Because after tonight, the Reaper trails Jason Hughes by just over 90 points. And with another race less than 16 hours away, no one can afford to lose focus. Next week on Dirt Nights.
I'm never happy.
Is that where the water's coming up?
Go on to corner number 2. John Tesh, Steve Wetstein.
That's the best display of racing I've ever seen. Thank you. Well, that felt good. Finally.
You don't win it, just not. They don't do it for me.